Here's the next question. I'm afraid that once you decide to take the vaccine, you'll be required to take a seemingly endless number of boosters to be considered fully vaccinated. I'm just not sure I want to go down that path.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure I can answer the question, but we have heard that quite a few times in the field.
Yeah. It's okay. I don't want to get vaccinated. I want to get vaccinated. I kind of get that. And but you take the vaccine to protect yourself, right? And I think that's the big thing. I know people that try to time their boosters. Oh, I don't want to get my booster yet because I'm going to go on a trip, and I want to get it before I go on the trip. And I know a couple that was thinking that, and they got COVID last week. I think the best thing to do is just to follow the recommendations until we're through this. We all ask people to get a flu vaccine every year. It may come to that, right? And that's just the way it may be. Or we may find that, after you get 3 or 4, depending how old you are and what kind of conditions you have, maybe you don't need additional vaccines. We don't know. We don't know the answer, but it's not like you're getting committed to something and someone's requiring you to do things. So it's kind of just I just find that an odd argument, because you can do what you want, but we would recommend that people go ahead and get it. And just like we'd recommend people get a flu vaccine, just like we recommend that people get their pneumonia shot when they get to be a certain age, and then after a certain period of time passes, you get another one. Just like if you've had a tetanus shot, you get another one after a certain period of time happens. That's just pretty much the way vaccines work.
Yeah, I want to just tack on real quick. I completely agree, and I think that I've certainly had that discussion with a number of my patients. I'll say, "Oh, hey, it's time for your COVID booster," and they'll say, "I don't really want the booster." So the issue of mistrust and not wanting to get the vaccine in the first place is no longer the concern. So when I speak with them, at least in my experience, and Dr. Berman can probably weigh in here too, it comes down to they're really just tired of COVID. And every time we ask them about a vaccine, every time we hear something new, or now there's another booster, people say, "Oh my God, can't it just be over?" And it's just this is a reminder. For many people, it's an emotional decision. It's not a scientific based decision. It's just based on feelings. And I understand that. Like you got to meet people where they're at. That's their feeling. I say, I acknowledge and respect how you feel. Same time, here's what we know. We know that when these things were tested as a 2-dose series, that we followed people for a few months, and it was great. But then as we got more experience and we started to see the results of antibody tests come back, well, boy, those antibodies really go away after about 6 to 8 months. After 2 doses, you're really probably not having enough to fight off new waves of infection. So that's where the booster studies and then came out and said, wow, this really reignites the immune response. Listen, we have many series of vaccines that are 3-dose series. Many people get their kids HPV vaccinated. Those are 2, and some populations 3 doses. Hepatitis B is 3 doses. Dr. Berman knows all of the 3-dose vaccines series way better than anybody else. But this is that we are learning about this through rigorous scientific study in real time. So it's very hard for people, I think, to understand that it's not a lifetime, it's not a live experiment. It's actually lifetime science generation in process. We are learning as we're going. We are following very, very strict scientific protocols to come up with these recommendations. And nobody would recommend something. Certainly no clinician, no health system is going to recommend something that we think is going to hurt someone. So if your doctor or your health provider is recommending a booster, it's good to consider it. Go ahead, Megan. Sorry, I know you want to get in there.
Well, and to clarify the number of vaccines, the CDC considers someone fully vaccinated if you have 2 of the messenger RNA vaccines or 1 of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. But then they throw on that up to date by having that 1 booster. And really, just to echo what my colleagues have mentioned, this is really a 3-shot vaccine. It's, once you get those 2 shots, it primes your immune system. And then once you boost it months down the road, you actually have a better immune response. So like many vaccines that are given in series, this should have been all along, arguably a 3-shot series. Now, again, because of the pandemic, they had to get these out so quickly. So it was just, it would have been almost inappropriate to wait that long when so many people were just at the edge of their seat wanting to have some sort of protection. And then of course the recent news, like, oh, well, you could get a second booster if you want. And I think this is where people are getting kind of tired. Like, are you kidding me? I just had 3, what do we do? And, when we look at that data, it depends who you are. And if you are someone who's much older, when they look at the Israeli data, there's over 1 million people that they studied, and they showed that really the most benefit is in an older population, less so in a younger population. When they looked at healthcare workers, a second booster didn't really make any difference. But in an older population, older than 60, 70, probably even older than 80, if you got 2 shots at the time, it gave you 55% protection, 3 shots gave you 88% protection, and then that extra booster bumped it up to 95. So, it's a smaller benefit, but it's still there. But we don't know the future. We don't know if one day this virus is going to evade our immune response. Then yeah, we may need another vaccine. But as of now, you should have 2. It'd be great if you had 3. And then if you want that extra one, if you have a healthy immune response, okay. Now, if you're immunocompromised, that's another story. You do need that extra one. But I think many of us are at least advocating to get that first booster. And then after that, I just have a discussion with my patients if they would like to have that extra, that second booster.